Some species tell us more about the landscape than themselves. For Frog Week 2026, no species told the story better than the pickerel frog. Unlike the explosive breeding season of the wood frogs happening over a few nights, or the mass migration of American toads moving throughout the forest to find ponds and vernal pools, the pickerel frog occupies a narrow window in between these two events. It's a brief and often overlooked chapter in the spring. This year, western Pennsylvania was covered in blankets of snow all throughout March and even most of April. It was almost as if the spring had never happened. The mirage of the wood frog breeding season was never going to give way to the American toad breeding season, almost like we were stuck in time, like the Chronicles of Narnia. For multiple weeks, the snow would continue to cover the landscape, and we would have rainstorms and cooler nights that would eventually wipe away the snow, but not provide enough of a warm temperature that the pickerel frogs could become active again. Over the years of filming these frogs, I've begun to learn trends and patterns of when these frogs become active in our target counties. I was a little concerned as the low temperatures were not gradually increasing enough for these frogs to begin calling. I wasn't sure what would happen if they overlapped with other species, but eventually the temperatures gradually did increase, so it was finally time to go out and search for the pickerel frog. My name is Aaron Capoli, and I am the creator of Frog Week, telling the story about the pickerel frog across western and central Pennsylvania. The pickerel frog is the second smallest of all the pond frogs throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It can be distinguished from the northern leopard frog a few ways. It's typically brown or tan, with brown irregular spots on its back. They are not aligned and black like the northern leopard frog. It also has yellow pigmentation where its back legs are and even where its toe pads are, and this is thought to deter predators with the bright coloration. More similar to the northern leopard frog and wood frog, the pickerel frog uses side pouches whenever calling. That's the low growl sound that you're hearing. That's actually their mating call and other vocalizations that they make coming from these vocal sacs, as opposed to the American toad, gray tree frog, chorus frogs, and American bullfrog that use underneath their throat where their vocal sac is located. These pickerel frogs are a mountainous species, and they love clean, healthy water, which is why they have become a catalyst, in my opinion, for good water quality. Throughout portions of Cambria and Somerset counties, the streams and many waterways have been impacted by decades of habitat alteration and the legacy of abandoned mine drainage. In many places, water that appears suitable for amphibians may no longer support the communities that once existed there. The pickerel frog often serves as an early warning system, a canary in the coal mine, if you will. Where pickerel frogs persist, there's often a story of resiliency. Where they disappear, there may be a deeper environmental story waiting to be uncovered. Passive treatment systems have been installed before the water goes out to the rivers. It must first pass through ponds with limestone rock. A positive note for the species is they do seem to have been finding the best water quality of these treatment ponds, and they've been settling there. This means the pickerel frog has been pioneering these new ponds, and as they continue to get built, it creates more opportunities for the pickerel frog to continue to expand its range and recover in some places where it had been declining for a long time. It's very important for the pickerel frog to have a good, clean source of water, especially as the northern green frog continues to expand its range as we continue to detect that across the Commonwealth in our study sites. In the iNaturalist project, we're finding the pickerel frogs are starting to show up at places that they had long been thought to have abandoned. Places where orange water and poor pH meant there would be no frogs that could survive. Now, just a few decades later, new ponds have been installed, treatment systems flowing through, and now there are populations of pickerel frogs that call these ponds home. Oh my god. I thought he was gonna kill them. Freaking crayfish. Ironically, it's not Somerset or Cambria County that are the most historical range for the abundance of pickerel frogs in our target counties. That was actually Westmoreland County. According to a 1913 source on the economic value of amphibians, and also PARS from pre-2013 records showing how Westmoreland County, out of all 7 of our counties, was the most abundant, where this frog had long called home. There's no question, in our target counties, the populations have been increasing for a while. However, Indiana and Cambria counties are now the hotspots for these frogs, partially in Cambria for the work of the treatment systems, and Indiana with better water quality and a lot more places in the lower elevation for these frogs to settle. As we're watching one of the first territorial disputes I've ever caught on camera between pickerel frogs jockeying for position to occupy this space to mate. Let's take a look and see how this goes. I can't believe I'm out here and we have American toads that are coming to us to begin that breeding season. This is just unbelievable. It literally looks like I'm filming American toads in my tank because they are so well blended in. What has actually been very funny is that the pickerel frogs are not at all worried about me anymore. They're worried about the American toads because they don't want to get locked up in their hold because the toads are very strong, those male toads, when they get their grip around somebody. So this pickerel frog is very diligent, and if you could recall just a few nights ago, they were trying to get away from me frantically. But they have bigger fish to fry now that the toads are here because they could get in close quarters and they can actually grab them. There are toads literally swimming all around here. Let me zoom out just so you can see. I don't know if I can get the other... Yeah, I can't get the toad in the shot, but this is just crazy to see. But we're getting more information about the pickerel frogs this year. Oh, a toad just went after him. You missed it. So the toad actually... I wish I had my phone rolling because I would have got it. You could see him in the distance though. The toad went after the pickerel frog. I want to see if a pickerel frog will wrestle a toad, because I just saw a toad wrestle a pickerel frog. It's a territorial warning. The pickerel frog is actually giving the toad. However, I don't think toads care about their warnings. This pickerel frog is not going to be moved, but this toad doesn't really care. The tenacity of the toad or the territory of the pickerel frog. Oh, I think he has had enough. So I guess we found out, and so did the pickerel frog, that American toads don't care about territory during the breeding season. For anybody who thinks that pickerel frogs have a venom or a toxin, I should say a toxin, I don't think the toad cares. So there's the pickerel frog. Guys, I don't have the greatest shot here, but these are pickerel frog eggs. Finally, for the first time in years, as I see a pickerel frog right next to me. Look at that, guys. There they are. Those are pickerel frog eggs. Isn't that crazy? There they are, guys. I just wanted to clear the air as we saw that American toad wrestling the pickerel frog. There have been some unfounded claims of pickerel frogs being toxic to other frogs and toads, even other native species. I'm not exactly sure where Schaefer in 1999 found that from, but that reference has been echoing throughout the internet for decades, which has not been proven scientifically or observationally during the Frog Week project. I road rescue pickerel frogs alongside other species all the time and have never seen a dead frog or toad after the fact. I've developed a few questions from the field season this year with the pickerel frogs. I wonder if the American toads arriving at the tail end of the pickerel frog breeding season negatively impact whether or not the pickerel frogs who are late to the party are likely to find a mate. Will females carrying eggs actually find a male if they're displaced from their calling territory? That's a great question that we're going to try to find the answer for in the upcoming years. As we began filming a second population of pickerel frogs much later in the season, I developed another question. This is one I never saw coming. As these pickerel frogs were calling around a pond where there was no presence of American toads, a different problem occurred. What sounded like a territorial dispute as the pickerel frogs were calling for a mate, the green frogs and bullfrogs would respond. After filming these frogs for many years, it's become clear the story of the pickerel frog is one of great mystery. It's a species that is listed statewide. However, just because it's listed statewide doesn't mean that it's found everywhere. I know that sounds contradictory, but it could be there's just not suitable habitat, or the water quality is so poor that these frogs can't survive. This is one of the ongoing stories that we continue to uncover a bigger picture, or maybe even a clearer picture, of this species. Do the American toads at the tail end of the breeding season displace the pickerel frogs? Is that what actually ends their breeding season? What about at the ponds where there's no toads? Do the northern green frog presence and calls, and even the bullfrog calls, deter females from taking the trip into the pond, risking their lives to breed with the males? It's become abundantly clear that we have so many projects with the pickerel frog that we need to continue to document this species. And it's one of the frogs that I've been the most excited to go out and film for the entire project. I can't wait to cover even more about the pickerel frogs in the coming years. I hope that you'll continue to watch Frog Week 2026, consider liking and subscribing for more Frog Week content, and take a look at the maps that I've laid out so you can see, historically, their distribution across Pennsylvania. That's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys will continue to follow the story. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share for more Frog Week content. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Higher.